Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. That would be me. I'm thrilled to be here with you again for another episode. And thank you so much to all of you who are following me, following our team on our two YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. So regardless of where you're watching us, we would love for you to subscribe to our channels over here as well, so that we know what kind of content you're interested in watching and how we can deliver the best when it comes to education and programming. My topic today is very personal, and it's basically about getting back on, overcoming fear after a fall. So a couple of months ago now, I was taking part of a class. I was participating in the high interval training class where you run on the treadmill at certain speeds and certain inclines. And then after a certain amount of time, you then go to the floor and do some core work. And during that time, when I was first warming up, I noticed that on my right foot, I kept tripping a little bit. And I'd been wearing these sneakers that I've worn before. And for whatever reason, when I would wear them, I would kind of trip just on the right side. And the sneakers have a very wide bottom. So even though they're supposedly for running, for me, they didn't feel like the best shoe to be wearing. But I was really lazy. I said to myself, I really should just go down to the locker room and change into a different pair of sneakers. But instead, I decided to just go forth. The class was just about to start. And so I decided that what I would do is I would hold on to the handles there that you have. It's not a handle, it's a bar, I guess, basically. And typically when I'm working out, I'm always wearing weightlifting gloves or weight training gloves, as I was on this particular occasion. And so one minute I was running, I think I was running 6 miles an hour, and the incline was on 4. And the next thing I knew, I was holding on and I didn't know what to do. It was a very weird thing that the treadmill just kept going around. And it was one of those treadmills, I don't remember the brand, but the tread was not actually flat. It had lines in it, like grooves. And I've done some research on it since then. And apparently, this is a safer kind of treadmill to run on in terms of for your joints. So, what happened was I had a bracelet on and it kept hitting the tread in the same place. And so it was actually digging into my skin. And so there were some wonderful people who were there in the class, the instructor, and then instructors who were taking class, and they helped me. I had cut up both of my knees, and then I hurt this hand, actually my wrist, and then this one I had the big cut. So it ended up that I actually thought I was going to go continue the class. I think I was in a state of shock. And of course, I was also really embarrassed. How does a person fall off a treadmill? I've been running on treadmills for decades. So I ended up going to urgent care just to make sure everything was fine. And then I was leaving the country, actually. I was going to Greece. And I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be ready to travel. So it ended up, they put a splint on my hand, I guess it was. And my skin, everything is healed pretty well, but I do have a scar on my arm. And every time I look at it, it reminds me. And so before I left for Greece, I decided to go back to the gym and go up to the treadmill, the one that I had been on. And I just looked at it and I said, you don't have anything on me. I'm going to keep doing my thing. But I didn't go on that treadmill because it's in a section of the gym that's really just for classes. So I went on to another treadmill, and long story short, I was fine. I walked and I held on. I did not run. And then I kept going back, and then I finally went back to the class. And now I'm taking the class about 3 or 4 times a week, but I'm still holding on to the treadmill. And I've started running some of the intervals, but always in my mind, it just seems to be there all the time. What if you fall? What if you trip? And then I'll look down at my feet, and I know you're not supposed to do that. So I've done a lot of research on this. And you might think this is trite or it's stupid. People make their judgments. Go ahead, let them, as Mel Robbins would say. But for me, it's not just about the treadmill, because there are a lot of times we fall down, we have to get back up. Like they say, get back on a bike when you fall off. So I have gotten back. I am doing it. I am doing the work. I'm taking the incline up to 16 while I'm walking at 4 miles or 4.5. So I'm doing the work. But the whole reason for me sharing this is in the back of my mind, I still think, what if I trip and fall? Oh, and by the way, I gave those sneakers away to Goodwill. And when I gave them away, I did say to the person who took them, I said, I wouldn't suggest anyone runs in these. And I did, as I mentioned, I did look into the brands, and there have been a number of people who've written online that they also tripped when they were wearing these sneakers. And it was the same thing, that the bottom is very thick and very big, and that they felt like that could have been a reason, contributing factor. But then in my mind, I started thinking, what if that isn't the reason? What if the reason is that I'm not picking up my foot? What if the reason is I'm tired because I already did one or two workouts? And so now it's becoming more of a nuisance that I'm working on daily just to get out of my mind. So I don't know if you've ever had anything that was traumatic. And even though you have progressed on from it, there's still something there in the back of your mind. So, what do we do when these things happen? What is it that I'm doing? What I'm doing is I keep showing up and I keep saying to myself, what does the fear of falling represent as more than just a physical act? So obviously there's the physical act, which in and of itself is not pleasant. And I've also done research, by the way, that the treadmill is the piece of equipment in the gym that has the most amount of accidents that people are falling off of and getting hurt. And if you think about it, there's typically a wall or there's a treadmill behind, there's something else behind that if I hadn't been holding on and made a conscious decision, I sort of like flying like Superwoman. I made a conscious decision to let go so that my feet were behind me. I could have literally bashed my head into it. And I think that that is also something that's there for me. But beyond the fear of the physical, beyond the fear of emotionally what that felt like. There's also the fact that I felt like I had no control over it. That one minute I was upright and the next minute I wasn't. And it was literally in a split second, which is why we call it an accident, right? When you're driving or something happens and all the things that you worry about and you think could happen to you, you never think about that. So I didn't think about falling off the treadmill, I promise you, because I've been a runner for most of my life. I don't run outside anymore per se, but I do like to run because I feel like it gets the adrenaline going, and I think it really helps to keep your mind sharp and your body. You can lose weight. There's a lot of great things about it, but I won't run outside anymore. And I think actually the last time I did run outside was not this past year, but the year before. I was down at the beach and I went running about 5 miles. And I thought that was pretty good because, I'm 62 now and I know people are running into their hundreds. So it's something that we can do. But I think the point of it is that when we do fall or we do have an accident that was completely out of our control, we think to ourselves, this could happen again. So for me, what was it like to take control? What did I do? The first thing I decided was I knew I shouldn't have been wearing those sneakers. So I don't wear them now. The sneakers are gone. I gave them away. I hope somebody will walk in them or hike or do whatever it is and they'll be safe. So I have other sneakers that I feel very comfortable in running. But yet I'm still holding on to the treadmill because part of me knows that if I hadn't been holding on before, I could have hit my chin on the bar, hit my head, anything could have happened. But because I was holding on, I had minimal injuries. And so I feel like I've done a risk assessment that because I did fall, what is the likelihood that I could fall again? We could come up with a hypothesis and then try to, to work through it and say, if this, then that. But I've decided that I will wear the sneakers that I'm wearing and I will focus the most on the incline because I can have control over that. And that's really the point of this is when we have control over things, then we feel safe. So for me, having changed the sneakers, holding onto the treadmill, I feel like I am more in control than I was in the past. And I also feel to some degree that this fear is being maintained and contained so that I'm not seeing it in other aspects of my life. But that can happen. It can happen when we have a fear that it starts to penetrate into other areas of our life. So I don't know if you've had that happen to you or not. So I feel like I'm in control of it in that way, in the fact that I am going on the treadmill and I am doing these workouts. So I'm bringing these things up because most times what's at the surface level is not really what the issue is. So you may be watching and thinking, why is she talking about a treadmill? Well, I fell off the treadmill, so that was the issue. But as a result of falling off of it, now I have a fear. So is the fear founded? It is founded because I did fall off. Could it happen again? Sure, it could happen again. Falling off treadmills is very common. So I have to do what I need to do so that I feel safe and I'm not thinking about it. Because if I'm telling myself that I might fall off, the probability that I will is much higher. And that's based on neuroscience and study that what we tell ourselves, what gets repeated over and over again, is typically what ends up happening. So I am telling myself now that I am safe, that I'm not going to fall off. And by holding on, I feel I have an extra layer of security because I knew that that's what protected me before. So what I'm sharing with you today, again, is more than about a treadmill. And it's more than being in fear. It's also being able to listen to our intuition, listen to what's coming up for us. So for some people, they might have said to themselves, that's it, count me out. I'm not going back on the treadmill. I'm not getting back on the bicycle that I fell off of. I'm not getting in the car that I had the accident in. But when we face those fears and confront them, we realize that we can have more control on it based on listening to our intuition. And what do I mean by that? So if you think about being on the highway, being in a vehicle, sometimes we're highly emotional. We have something going on. We can't believe that the person didn't go through the yellow lights or that they didn't move on the green light as quickly as they should have. And we get all emotionally involved. And therefore, we're not thinking with 100% focus and clarity. And then maybe somebody cuts us off, and then maybe we drive after them, or maybe it could be 1,000 different scenarios because we were not able to control our emotions. So whether it's the treadmill, the bike, anything in life, when we learn to control our emotions, then we have an opportunity to feel safe. Feel safe because we can actually now listen to our intuition. What is our intuition telling us about what we're doing? My intuition told me that day, get off the treadmill and change your sneakers. But I didn't do it because I just didn't feel like going downstairs and changing, and maybe I'd be late to the class. So I didn't follow my intuition. And at 62, I can tell you in the last, I don't know how many years, I know that my intuition is spot on. I don't think it's ever disappointed me. I've just disappointed myself by not listening to it. And so that's what I want to share with you today, that when something feels uncomfortable inside, it feels like it's not working, it's probably not. It's probably not meant to be. But we make choices. And so what I'd like you to think about is whatever choice you make in your life, you can't go back. And having regrets and having doubt and having remorse doesn't serve anything, because even if you had decided to go in this other direction, you don't know how it would have worked out. So look at the decision that you made and how can you make it work for you? So one decision in this area that I've really decided to focus on, and it actually had to do with the treadmill incident. I remember when I was on the treadmill, there was music playing in the gym, obviously, and it was louder where we were because, we're working out. And I started singing. And I was kind of in my head. I was transported somewhere else, which is one of the things I love about running. But yet it wasn't safe because I was no longer present. I was singing, and yet I kept moving the incline and the speed up at the same time that I was singing, and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So sometimes, even though there's something that can make us happy or bring us happiness, it can also distract us. And I think that's a good segue into my next topic today, which is multitasking. And I was always an advocate of multitasking. I remember through a lot of my corporate career, I would really be bragging to people that, oh, I'm on my phone, I'm on my computer, I have got 2 iPads. And I kind of really got that from watching my father. My dad used to have 6 screens up at any time he was watching the market. And I kind of thought, wow, he's so intelligent. That's so cool. And he was really intelligent. So I think I kind of adopted that and really thought that that was something that was special, being able to do all these things at the same time. But when I started looking into elevated listening, and by the way, that I have my book, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. This is a great start for somebody who is interested in really honing in their skills about how to listen. So when I started working on that and teaching those courses, I realized that it is not possible to be totally present and listening at the same time. So if I were here now, which I am, and I started reading or doing something else, I actually can't be present to what I'm going to be talking about today. And so multitasking, by the way, I just watched another Mel Robbins episode. She's so amazing. Let me get the actual definition of what her guest shared today. Multitasking doesn't exist. It is task switching. Task switching. That's from Mel Robbins' guest that I watched on Instagram today, I think. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So if you think about running, you want to be present. You want to be watching what you're doing, especially if you're running outside. And I know a lot of people will run with music in their ears. And I stopped doing that a long time ago because my mother had lost her hearing in one ear. And I realized how precious hearing is. I've even stopped going to exercise classes where they play very loud music, and they're really proud of how loud the music is and tell you, well, you can use the earplugs. No, losing your hearing is pretty much permanent and forever. You can get hearing aids, but it's not the same. And having watched someone I love go through that, I really protect my ears. So for me, I'm not ever wearing headphones and doing anything. I have noise canceling headphones when I fly, but that's about it. You won't ever see any headphones or AirPods or anything going into these ears. So as we close out just on multitasking, okay, and it's really task switching, it's about putting your focus on what your priority is, because whatever you prioritize is what's going to get done. I decided I wanted to do this show today as opposed to later this evening, because it was a priority. And I wanted to make sure that I could get the messaging out for anyone out there that it might help. So I put aside what I was doing and I said, let me get this promo started for the show and let me start broadcasting. So whatever you prioritize is what you will get accomplished. And if you have many priorities, that's great, but you could actually rank them in order. You could put them in the order of which one will bring you the most happiness, which one has a deadline that there's certain conditions aligned to, and you can go from there. So I want to thank you very much for listening. And I want to thank you to all of you who have been watching all of our shows. I have an amazing team from around the world, and we are the recipient of the YouTube Silver Creator Award, which I actually have right here. So here's the award. I had it framed, and it's quite a feeling, because it took a lot to actually get this award. And there was a time when I didn't know if we would get it because of copyright infringements and people putting content onto the site. But when you hold this in your hands, I can tell you one thing. I don't know that there's a better feeling, except when I got my doctorate. And of course, the other day I got accepted to Wharton. That's pretty exciting too. But this is pretty exciting because there's a community of people who are here with me, who have been with me through Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline, which was our initial platform when it was kind of just a hobby, to USA Global TV and radio. And we now have a show in German, we have a show in French, and we're just thrilled about where things are going. So thank you again for taking this ride with us. I want to share just a few things with you before we go. My new book is out, and it's called Holy But Harmful: The Silent Sin of Judgment. And there's also a companion workbook that is coming out on Friday, and it's available on an ebook and Audible right now. So this book is all about the judgments that we make every day. There are certain statements that we make, we don't even think about them. I'll give you some examples, but there's 100 examples in the book, literally 100. So you could say, you look great for your age. I wasn't expecting you to look so good. If it weren't for me, you would be nothing. Who does she think she is dressing like that? All rich people are, etc. I mean, we could go on and on and on. People make statements and they don't even think about how they impact other people. So when you read this book, you will see 100 different commonly made statements, passive aggressive statements that people make that I hope will help you identify how and when you're being judgmental. And of course, we have the entire book series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella. This is the newest book, which is Lady Ella and Lord Jack's Kindness Adventure. So for those of you who are interested, we have 62 different shows right now. That's right, with people from all over the world. And you can find out more by going to our website, which is USA Global TV and Radio. And if you'd like to find out about our shows, you can go right here to shows. You can also find out how you can be a guest. Here are all the shows here. You can also book your session to be a guest. We do not charge anyone to be guests. You can be a guest 3 times in a year without a charge. And we welcome you from wherever you are in the world. We have branded logo merchandise. We've got a lot of opportunities for you to express yourself and for you to join our team. We are currently looking for show hosts who are in other countries speaking foreign languages. And here is the Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck YouTube channel. This show that you're watching now, Let's Finally Talk, is only being broadcast on my Dr. Jacqueline platforms. So it's on my LinkedIn, it's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram, and it's on my YouTube. It is not on the USA Global TV and Radio sites. And here is the USA Global TV and Radio YouTube, the one that we just won the Silver Creator Award for in April. So they are our platforms, and I would love to have you join us there. And again, if we can support your work in some way, please let us know. And I'd love to have your comments and your feedback. When have you fallen, and how did you get back up? How did you manage your fear? What did you do so that you could move forward? Because we're all here to help one another. That's what it's all about. In the end, it's not about money. It's about how can we lend a hand and help someone else. We have an amazing retreat that's coming up. It's at the Horseshoe Farm, and it is June the 3rd, the 3rd to the 6th. We're going to take a look at that, and then we'll have a couple of clips that I want to share, and then we will be back tomorrow. So thanks again, and wherever you are, please do subscribe. Take care. Bye. Nestled in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Horseshoe Farm has always been more than a destination. It's a living, breathing reflection of community, connection, and transformation. Once a humble family farmstead, it has evolved over the years to become a sanctuary for travelers, seekers, families, and friends alike. Originally reimagined by the Turchin family as an Airbnb property, the farm began its journey into hospitality with simple roots, welcoming guests to experience the beauty and peace of the sacred land. As word spread and the vision deepened, the property organically blossomed into a boutique resort, rooted in the values of slow living, intentional experiences, and the magic of gathering. Today, the Horseshoe Farm is a 90-acre experiential retreat that merges hospitality, wellness, and culinary excellence. It is home to the Stable Spa, the Silo Cookhouse, distinctive lodging options, and a curated calendar of events that nourish mind, body, and spirit. Our guest experience is designed to be both grounding and expansive, where the comforts of luxury meet with the simplicity of nature. At its core, the Horseshoe Farm is about transformation of land, of self, and of community. We are proud of where we've come from. We are confident in who we are today and excited for the road ahead. Hello, I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, also known as the Listening Mentor and president and founder of USA Global TV and Radio. I had the opportunity, the pleasure of attending a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm just recently. I was so impressed with all of the opportunities that were presented to me in this glorious setting, as well as the highest level of customer service, that I've decided to put together a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, United States of America, June 3rd through the 6th, 2026. You can expect to have a beautiful time of relaxation combined with learning, community, collaboration. Do consider joining me in this wonderful opportunity to reconnect with yourself, with others, and with nature. For more information, email me at drjacqueline@usaglobaltv.com.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful: The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives, by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within Every Woman Lives a Goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time. Only here on USA, Global TVR, and Radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.